Okay, this is an informal demonstration on how to put together your nightstand case. And what you're going to do is you have to bring to me your sides already manufactured and ready to go. And by that, I mean they need to be exactly 23 7/8. And if you look at this piece, it's bad. This demonstration is on how to construct your nightstand case. You're going to need your web frame, your two sides, and at least one bottom. In some cases, we have made two bottoms, and one of those will serve as your web frame if there are problems with your web frame and we don't have time to build another web frame. However, the first thing you want to do is just check out your web frame. And you can see here are the numbers 11, 22, 33, 44 that we use to help do our joinery for our biscuits. So this is joined together by biscuits, and it needs to be square, and it should be the same size as your bottom. Okay? And you will notice that this particular web frame is slightly smaller than our bottom will be, and in this case, we can make it work. However, you need to bring all your pieces to me and have me check the length and the width and make sure everything is okay. If they're not, we'll make any adjustments that are necessary at that time. Different lengths is more critical right now to us than the difference in width between the web frame and the width in the bottom. Where this will make a difference for us, you have a back rabbet. And this distance of your bottom should fit in from the front of the cabinet to the back of the back rabbet. However, because our web frame is slightly smaller than that distance, which is 11 inches, you need to, basically, this web frame will go in up here. And you can see it's going to be a little bit shy of reaching the back of the back rabbet. Not a big deal, because it will not be seen. Our drawer is going to ride on that. However, if that was our bottom, and we had a gap back here because our bottom did not go all the way to the back of our back rabbet, we would show a gap, and that would be an issue that we'd have to solve when making the right size bottom. Okay? So in some cases, we can get away with minor mistakes. However, I do need to check all your parts. What I'm looking for on your two sides, number one, your back rabbet has to be on the back edge. So when I lay these together, inside to inside, dados facing dados, rabbet facing rabbet, this is my front edge. All my dados should be lined up. Okay? I should have the same height, and I should have two back rabbets. Okay? I'm also looking at my width, so I lay them on the back edge, and it should be perfectly even across, even on the ends, and then you're okay. If your case is not built to specs, we will probably have to have you mill out two more sides. Alright? Or if you have a shrinking project, I will make the proper adjustments for you in your web frame and your bottom. And the way you can wind up with a shrinking project is if your back rabbet was somehow on the wrong edge and you had to go and recut the two sides. So now instead of being 11 1/4 wide, you're now 11 wide, which changes this to 10 3/4 for your width. Alright? So that's the first thing we have to do. This is work points. You'll turn in your map for doing your two sides and constructing your web frame. That's a map. And your bottom and your two stretchers is part of your case assembly map. Okay? Let me go get us a couple of stretchers and we'll be ready to go. Okay, I noted a couple of stretchers for us. They're 2 inches by 14. Once again, these have to be the same length as our bottom is, and then of course our web frame has to be the same length as well. If these are different lengths, we'll wind up with a cabinet or a case that's out of square. Okay, so everything's good, and we're basically ready to construct our case. The first thing you're going to do is lay these on their sides. Now right now I have the back edges facing each other. So I'm going to move this one over, and this one over to this direction. And we want to build our cabinet face down. In other words, the front side down. But before I do that, you take a close look at this web frame. I've already sanded on this back side to smooth out that joint. On the other side, you can still see our numbers and some glue. Our drawer is going to be riding on this web frame, and if these are uneven joints, we need to sand that down. However, we do not want to make our thickness of the web frame any thinner, because if it's too thin, it would be sloppy inside our dado joint. So we have to be careful that we don't get onto this edge. Now, if we were using melamine, which can vary in thickness, we may actually have to go over to our router table and make a real small surface cut on this to get it to fit into our dado. Sometimes melamine is a little bit thicker. So what I want to do first is just sand this side where our numbers are, and when my numbers disappear, I'll probably have I wear glasses, so I often forget to put on extra protection, which are my safety glasses. So anytime you're using a power sander or any power equipment in the shop, and anytime you're in the shop, you need to have your safety glasses on. So go ahead and throw those on, finish up this sanding. The sander is a random orbital, and it has to oscillate. Too much pressure does not allow the bottom here, the base, to oscillate the way it should. Therefore, it takes longer to sand. So make sure you can tilt it slightly, but that wears out your outer edge, as you can see. So basically, lay it flat, work the whole area. When you're working just the joint area, and we don't want to sand anywhere else, that's fine just to do this butt joint here. Basically, it's a biscuit joint. Okay? Okay, so I've sanded my surface a little bit right where my joint is, so when my drawer rides on this, it's not going to catch on my joint. Where you do not want to sand, please do not sand on your ends, on any cut. If you have a crooked end, do not sand on this, because it will remain crooked and it will change your length. If we sand on this edge, it's going to change our length, so do not do that. Because remember, what we have to do is make sure everything is the same here before we do our assembly. And we do not want a crooked end. Alright, we're ready to begin.